If you plan to bet on UFC Vancouver DeRitter versus Allen or any international card moving forward, then don't miss this video. I made a 30% return after UFC Rio, and I look to keep the momentum going forward for UFC Vancouver with strong betting picks. My secret sauce definitely applies to UFC Vancouver with some serious mispricing of Vegas lines. I'm going to give you my best 1 to 4 star picks for UFC Vancouver that no other MMA YouTuber is going to share with you. So buckle up and let's get going. I'm going to give you betting edges for UFC Vancouver DeRitter versus Allen that I promise you're not going to find anywhere else. We do it differently here at Moneyball MMA. We take a highly analytical approach and we find the mispricing in Vegas lines that give you the edge. We do this for free and we don't hide our picks behind a paywall. Also, unlike other YouTube channels who disclose only their winners, we'll show our winners and our losers, and we'll break down how our betting picks performed weekly as well as cumulatively. At Moneyball MMA, I detail our mathematical approach through exhaustive research on trends. We provide our own probabilities and we build our own betting lines, and we even use AI to give you the edge of mispricing in Vegas lines. Now, before getting to our bets, I want to detail an important trend that I've identified and analyzed. I call this the home octagon advantage, or HOA for short. I define the home octagon advantage as a fan favorite in a fight card. Clearly, the UFC stacks a card with favorites based on location or cultural background. I decided to take a look back at every international card in 2025 to see if there was indeed a statistically significant home octagon advantage. We looked at every fight where there was a clear home crowd favorite against someone outside of the category. We counted 91 fights with a clear home crowd favorite up through UFC Rio, and our findings were shocking. As you can see in this slide, home crowd advantage fighters who were pick'em to favorites by Vegas won their fights over 81% of the time. To put this into perspective, if favorites win 80% of the time, their line should start at minus 400. The away fighters won their fights only 41% of the time. We at Moneyball MMA adjust our probabilities of a fighter winning by adding a 10% probability to the home fighter and subtracting a 10% probability for the away fighter. These home-away odds are comparable to a touchdown swing in the NFL. We view these home octagon advantage adjustments as conservative, given our data shows us there's a much bigger home advantage in the UFC than in the NFL. However, unlike the NFL, we don't think Vegas adequately adjusts money lines for the observed home octagon advantage. And now comes the fun part. I'm always looking for an edge versus Vegas to make money. The way I make money on UFC betting is that before I even look at a Vegas money line, I determine the probabilities of which fighter wins, and then determine if a fighter does win, what are the probabilities he or she wins by knockout, TKO, submission, or decision. And then I refine my probabilities by comparing them to AI's probabilities for who wins and the methods of that victory. Now, from these probabilities, I then adjust for my home octagon advantage spread and assume a 4 to 5% Vegas VIG. I create my own betting lines based on these adjusted probabilities. Lastly, I compare my betting lines to see if I think there are any major mispricing of Vegas lines. In summary, who I think is most likely to win is not necessarily how I bet. I try to find the mispricing of lines and structure my bets to reduce the risk as a way to provide asymmetric returns. This is the professional way to bet and also invest in, say, the stock market. Again, most of my YouTube peers are picking favorites based on who they think should win, which is already priced into the Vegas lines. This pick the favorite approach will not produce risk-adjusted betting alpha like we try to do here at Moneyball MMA. Before I get into my bets for UFC Vancouver, I want to introduce my 1 to 4 star rating system, which is how I would weight my bets. 1-star bets are risky, very low probability, but high reward, and should be 0 to 25% of your normal bet. 2-star bets are still low probability, but have higher Vegas mispricing and should be 25 to 75% of your normal bet. 3-star bets have a solid probability of occurring with Vegas mispricing and should be 100% of your normal bet. And 4-star bets have a higher probability of occurring with significant Vegas mispricing and should be 1 to 200% of your normal bet. You'll notice a trend in most of my bets. Most of my bets are on Canadian fighters against non-Canadian fighters due to my research in part 1 of this video. And this is because I don't think Vegas has adequately adjusted the money lines for home Octagon advantage. This home Octagon advantage pricing is where I think most of the alpha in my bets are derived. Number 1, I have a 3-fight parlay paying plus 490 with Azamat Bikoyev at minus 290, Rainier de Ritter at minus 198, and Jasmine Jasudavicius at plus 200. 2-star bets. Jasmine Jasudavicius by submission plus 1,000. My probability Jasmine wins on a neutral octagon is 45%. My probability Jasmine wins with a home octagon advantage is 55%. My probability her method of victory by submissions is 30%. Therefore, my probability Jasmine wins by submission is 16.5%. My implied betting line is plus 450. The actual betting odds are plus 1,000, and my edgy bet advantage is plus 550. Jasmine's on a 5-fight win streak. She's an aggressive striker with quicker hands than Minot. She's also solid on the ground and uses relentless pressure to take down her opponents. Minot is a rat-a-tat-tat accurate volume striker and is kind of a decision merchant. I think Jasmine will be the more motivated fighter and is going to use her aggressive style to get a decision or a submission victory. 3-star bets. Jasmine Jasudavicius plus 200. My probability Jasmine wins at a neutral octagon is plus 45%. My probability Jasmine wins with home octagon advantage is 55%. My implied betting line is minus 140. The actual betting odds are plus 200, and my edgy bet advantage is plus 340. Again, I like Jasmine as a straight-up underdog to win on home soil. Number 2, Rainier de Ritter, minus 198. My probability de Ritter wins at a neutral octagon is 67.5%. My implied betting line is minus 240. The actual betting odds are minus 198, and my edgy bet advantage is plus 42. RDR is the bigger fighter with nasty knees and strong grappling. Brendan Allen is taking this fight on short notice, and although Allen's losses have been against the creme de la creme of the middleweight division, like Fluffy, Imavov, and Strickland, I also put de Ritter in this upper echelon of middleweights. I think de Ritter will out-dirty box and out-wrestle Allen to a decision or late-round finish. Number 3 in my 3-star bet, Charles Jourdain minus 170. My probability Jourdain wins in a neutral octagon is 50%. My probability Jourdain wins with home octagon advantage is 60%. My implied betting line minus 240. The actual betting odds are minus 170, and my edgy bet advantage is plus 70. Jourdain is a high output striker with vicious kicks to the legs and head, and he likes to use strikes to set up his guillotines and choke submissions. Davy Grant is an accurate striker, and he's a tough matchup, but he's 10 years older than Jourdain, and younger fighters with a 10-plus year age gap win 65% of the time. This, combined with the home octagon advantage, gives Jourdain the edge. Number 4, Ayman Zahabi, minus 125. My probability Zahabi wins in a neutral octagon is 55%. My probability Zahabi wins with home octagon advantage is 65%. My implied betting line is minus 215. The actual betting odds are minus 125, and my edgy bet advantage is plus 90. Zahabi is a calculated striker with crafty boxing skills, and he uses feints, counters, and good head movement to go along with his grappling skills. Chito Vera has not fought in over a year, and he's coming off 2 unanimous decision losses. But at this stage in his career, Vera is a litmus test for title contenders. I expect Zahabi to pass this test in his home turf by using his superior boxing speed to beat Vera by decision. Number 5, Azamat Bikoyev, minus 290. My probability Bikoyev wins on a neutral octagon is 77.5%. My implied betting line is minus 130, and the actual betting odds are minus 290, and my edgy bet advantage is plus 140. I ranked Azamat Bikoyev number 8 in my video called UFC's top 15 most exciting prospects. He's a heavy-handed bulldog, and he uses his powerful strikes to wobble his opponents and then takes them down and smothers them while maintaining top control. His last 2 fights were dominating wins against far superior prospects. Yusri Belgoroi is best known for getting TKO'd and knocked out twice by training partner Alex Pereira and going the distance with Izzy Adesanya in Glory Kickboxing. He's a light-hitting striker with admittedly a nice flying knee, but Belgoroi failed twice to get a contract on the Contender Series. I expect Bikoyev to either get a ground and pound finish or a submission after serious ground and pounding Belgoroi. And now for my 4-star bet. Azamat Bikoyev wins by knockout, TKO, or submission, -115. My probability Bikoyev wins on a neutral octagon is 77.5%. My probability Bikoyev's method of victory by knockout, TKO, or submission is 80%. Therefore, my probability Bikoyev wins by knockout, TKO, or submission is 62%. My implied betting line is -210. The actual betting odds are -115, and my edgy bet advantage is +95. There you have it. What did you think? What were your bets leading up to this video? And do you have any questions? Now remember, I'm going to do this for every international card. I'm going to apply this home octagon advantage into my money lines. I'm going to look for the mispricing in Vegas lines, and we're going to do this together. Write your comments below, your questions below. Did I miss anyone? Let's go make some money. All right, enjoy UFC Vancouver, De Ridder versus Allen.